Thanks for staying with us. Some more good news now. Recent figures show 1 in 8 homes are now in arrears on their electricity bills and energy bills. We have the most expensive electricity in Europe.
Yeah, that's the front page of the Irish Independent today, ahead of the colder months. Daragh Cassidy from bonkers.ie is here to tell us how we can save our precious pennies. It's been kind of a dour first hour here, Daragh, because there's no good news. Wholesale electricity prices have dropped, but we're seeing an eighth of people are in arrears. What is going on?
Yeah, I mean, wholesale prices have dropped, which is obviously good news, but what viewers need to remember is that they've dropped from really, really high levels.
Yeah.
This is why we're still paying really, really high prices. We have seen, though, some price drops being announced over the past 2 weeks. So they range around 10 to 20%. So obviously that is good news.
Yeah.
But
these are from companies who are making supernormal profits. Like, their profits are
some of them
very
were.
good.
Some of it was being made, though, on the generation side of the business, not on the supply side. So which kind of does get very, very technical.
Okay.
And we did see around 2 or 3 suppliers leave the market over the past 2 years, which would suggest that if there was lots of profit being made, why would they leave? But the thing is, though, is that there are some price drops on the way, which is good. They come into effect in November, but despite the price drops, even after prices fall by 10 to 20%, prices are still going to be around double normal levels.
What it was.
So it'll still be another expensive winter to heat and light our homes, unfortunately.
And you were saying here, you're commenting in the Irish Independent this morning, 1 in 8 homes now in arrears. Your advice there, and I'm sure your advice always is, talk to your energy supplier.
Yeah.
Don't put your head in the sand about this. If you are struggling, talk to your energy supplier. They will help you.
Yeah, I mean, I can't overemphasize this enough. And by the way, this goes for any type of bill. If you're struggling with your mortgage, if you're struggling with your broadband, but particularly if you're struggling with your energy bills, there is help and support out there. Your supplier, they may be able to put you on a payment plan. They may be able to help you out through a hardship fund that they have.
Some of these have set up a hardship fund, like Electric Ireland of, what, 5 million or something?
Yeah, about 5 or 10 million. Bonkers Energy is the same. So really, I cannot overemphasize it enough. Don't put your head in the sand, because you're just shoring up problems for a different time.
Hardship fund. It's 2023.
Yeah, I know.
Feels like something from decades ago.
Yeah, it
not
does.
Right.
And I mean, it doesn't help, I think, in Ireland that we have quite a cold and damp climate. So heating our homes is a little bit more difficult. We have a pretty poor housing stock. Unless your house was built within the past 10 years, it can be quite difficult to heat it.
The BAR ratings on houses.
Really high energy prices. So we kind of get the worst of everything in Ireland when it comes to heating.
Can you talk to me about a standing fee? I'm hearing about this a lot, that a standing fee is being reduced. What is it?
Yeah, so standing charges, when people get their bill, it's made up of the unit rate, which is the charge for using your gas and electricity, government taxation, we all know about that, and then the standing charge, which is a fixed daily charge that everyone pays. Being honest, it's just another charge to cover a supplier's profits and their operation costs. Still come up with all of these, really, really nice ways of trying to describe what it's for, but really that's just it. In Ireland, they're quite high, and they were increased quite significantly during the crisis. And it's kind of quite controversial, because everyone pays it, and they pay the exact same amount. So if you're a millionaire in a 6-bed mansion, let's say in Dalkey, you'll pay the same standing charge as a pensioner in a 1-bed. So it's kind of what's called quite regressive in that sense. So it was quite controversial. But some slightly good news is that when Electric Ireland and Bord Gáis in particular reduced their prices, they also reduced the standing charge. So at least that's something.
So the show they should be. Tell us then, what's the best company to go with at the moment? Who is the cheapest price?
Yeah, so I always get asked that. It really does depend, and there's no one answer. When it comes to energy, I mean, if it was broadband, for example, you might say, well, listen, who's the fastest? Who's the best customer service? Who has the best channels with the TV package? When it comes to energy, for most people, it probably will be, listen, who's the cheapest, you know? Thankfully, customer service isn't a huge issue with energy companies, although it can be sometimes, don't get me wrong. But usually when it comes to energy, it's who's the cheapest. So people will be saying, who is the cheapest? It kind of does depend. You really need to go onto a site like bonkers.ie, do a comparison.
What does it depend on, though?
It depends on many things. Obviously, it'll depend on the unit rate, but it depends on the type of meter that you have. So do you have a standard normal meter, a day-night meter, a smart meter? And then obviously it depends on if you're in a rural area or an urban area, because if you're in a rural area, you'll be charged a slightly higher standing charge that we were talking about than if you're in an urban area.
Why?
And then when you use your electricity, it needs to be taken into account as well.
Far away.
Yeah, because you're
such a
kind of
massive
you're kind of
country.
far away, I guess.
So far away.
It's longer for the person to go and put the meter in, so you get a bigger standing
The suppliers will say that there's more costs if you're in a rural area as opposed to an urban area. But all those things come into effect when trying to find out who's the cheapest, and then obviously how much energy you use.
We do talk about consumer inertia and the fact that we won't switch providers. Could you go, I'm going to switch providers 4 times this year?
You could, but usually when you sign up to a new deal, it lasts for a year.
Yeah.
Some of the deals,
break it?
You can't, but you'll be charged €50 per fuel. Okay, so that's just one thing. Now, having said that, like being honest, I would say to people, if you are switching, whether it's your gas, your electricity, your broadband, your mobile, even once every 2 years, you're doing great. Most people don't do it at all.
Yeah.
So, they're not going to do it maybe 3 or 4 times. Yep. So even if you can just do it once a year, and I would definitely say to people who are watching at the moment, if you haven't switched your gas and electricity over the past year or so, now is the time to do it. We're coming into winter again. Energy bills, despite the drops, are still at record levels. And just to put it into monetary terms, despite the drops, the average household this winter is going to be paying an extra €2,000 on the gas and electricity than they would have around maybe 2 or 3 years ago when prices were at kind of more normal levels.
So have
Santa
a look.
Claus is in studio. 0896 111. We would love to hear from you. Daragh Cassidy from bonkers.ie. Thank you so much for joining us. Back with you on Ireland AM very shortly.